I would like to do this evening is make some introductions. Where is, there she is, Isabel, the other artist. And I'm sure that I don't even know everyone from Kenneth's family is here, but I do know that his mother, Beatrice Whiteside, is here. And his aunt, Amelia, whose last name escapes me at the moment. And he has a number of cousins here. If you are in Kenneth's family, would you please stand up? Thank you. The director of the nonprofit that Kenneth has incorporated, with some help from others, Who Decides, Inc. And Who Decides, Inc. is a nonprofit incorporated in Arkansas for the purpose of promoting this event and taking it to other places, and ultimately establishing a national museum on capital punishment. These are Kenneth's dreams and his vision. And when I met him a year ago, a little more than a year ago, I thought, oh, yeah, right. I don't think that anymore. No. If Kenneth says he's going to do it, you better believe it. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We have a website, and who knows? We've already had inquiries from Colorado, Oregon, New York, London, Stuttgart, Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're on the move. We're on the move. And this was our launch tonight, and you helped us do it. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So, the directors of Who Decides, Inc. Megan Ford is the secretary. Judy Ricker. Oh, there you are. And I have the distinction of being the director. I mean, the president, I'm sorry. I'm the director of the directors. Anyway. At this time, I want to introduce some of the members of Kenneth's Capital Defense team who graced us with their presence. George Kendall. From the Legal Defense Fund, LDF, Vincent Sutherland. Judith E. It means a lot to Kenneth. You know that. And Christina Swarns is another of the legal team who was not able to come because of child care issues. We can all relate to that. Christina has an adopted child. I think she's 6 years old. Is that right? Yeah. And she was unable to arrange child care. Otherwise, she would certainly be here. We appreciate everyone coming. George, would you like to make some remarks? And no, I'm going to let Vincent go first. Do you want to say anything? You don't have to, but you may if you like. You're going to ask the lawyer if you want to talk. Oh, yeah. Well, it has to be brief.
It'll be very brief.
Briefer than a brief, okay?
This is an absolutely phenomenal event. It's the culmination of an incredible amount of work and dedication. was on cloud 9 about this art show, despite where he is, which is on death row. For 23 hours a day, sitting in a cell by himself, sleeping on a concrete floor. But despite all that, he's able to dream and dream big. And I have no doubt that his dream of establishing a national museum on the death penalty will come true. But I just want to thank all of you for your presence here. I know Kenny feels it. I'm sure that he'll hear more and more about it. Isabel, fantastic work as well. And
Yes.
thank you, Judith, for helping to arrange it. And Dave Ricker and Ms. Ricker
And Megan.
and Megan and everyone. It takes a village, so
Yes.
to speak. And George. And so it's just fantastic to see all come together. So thank you.
Thank you. Jen, do you want to say anything?
Well, I think it's no surprise that to all of you who know Kenny that it's like no other client that I've ever had. He has exacting standards both in his artwork as well as his legal team, and but he has been an incredible inspiration to me personally. To represent someone, to have the privilege of representing someone who has lived through such difficult circumstances, from his childhood to where he is right now, and to have accomplished so much, and to take his circumstances and to produce art, that has meaning, I think is an inspiration to everyone. And so it's just wonderful. I can't express how wonderful this event is, and to have this turnout, and to meet all the people who have known him, that all the people that he has brought around him. I think that's a talent that Kenny definitely has, is drawing good people towards him and building really good relationships. And I think that in his relationship with Isabel, I think that has only kind of it has only kind of made him a greater artist, a greater person. And I think that her contribution to this event as well has been amazing. And so I just can't say how just proud I am of him, and how excited I am about Colorado and London, and maybe I can start traveling as part of my job, not just to Arkansas, but to other places as well. So, but yeah, no, it's fantastic, and for Judith and everyone else too, Megan and Judith, everyone who put this together, this is just so fantastic. Thank you.
As I'm standing there, I'm thinking of all the things I forgot, all the ththings I didn't do. Philander Smith College, their Social Justice League, helped us with this event. They're the young people who directed you upstairs, who signed you in, and all of that sort of thing. And Dr. Joseph Jones, who is the founding director of the Social Justice Initiative of Philander Smith, has just walked in, is one of the, and someone without whom this show would not have been possible, because I'm not an artist. Hamid Ibrahimifar is our curator. He got it all framed, he got it, decided where it should go and how it should be put up, and believe me, it wouldn't have happened without me. Stand up. He donated his time. Trios donated the food. Philander Smith, of course, that's all three. Rick St. Vincent donated his time. We have the official photographer. Would you tell us your name, please?
Miguel Valley.
Thank you. This has been a tremendously collaborative effort. And if I failed to mention anyone, my bad.
One is Isabel Watson. Imagine living in your bathroom for the last 20 years. And that's where Kenny has been. He doesn't want you to feel badly about him about that. But that's where he's been, in a 6x8 cell. And much of the art, and you haven't seen the beginning of it, but the art that you see on the wall in this extraordinary show tonight was all produced, the art by him, in that 6x8 cell, where materials are hard to come by, and the circumstances, most artists would not choose that as their studio. And so it's been quite remarkable, but I think this would have never happened. Isabel, he would not have been as inspired to produce this, but for the collaboration with you. So thank you very much. The other person who I'm sure this would not have happened tonight, but for his efforts, is Wilbur Rideau, who traveled here from Baton Rouge to speak to you all tonight. And I think you're going to find Wilbur to be a very interesting person. Needless to say, living in a 6x8 cell for all these years, you have good days and bad days. And Kenny surely has had his bad days. And there have been moments of great despair. And like, should I even continue to go on? And Kenny's been very open about this. And about 2.5 years ago, he told us, on the legal team, he said, I'm really having trouble. And Wilbur Rideau, you're going to hear from him, has made a great contribution to my life. I had the privilege to represent him in Louisiana years ago. Wilbur spent 10 years on death row in Louisiana, and 10 of those years in solitary confinement. He knows what solitary confinement is. He knows what death row is. He got off of death row and became, in the next 30 years that he would serve in prison, he was named the most rehabilitated prisoner in America by Life magazine. He turned a little mimeograph newspaper at the Angola prison, a notoriously horrible prison, into a jewel, and showed that First Amendment journalism, just as how necessary it is on the outside in this country, can flourish if it's allowed to do so inside. Guards understand prisoners better, prisoners understand guards better, and the prisons are safer if you have a free press in the prison. It's because of Wilbur Rideau that we know that now in this country. But after Wilbur got out in 2005, he has used part of his time. He wrote a terrific book. If you want to read one book about what's happened in criminal justice in the last 50 years, there's none better than Wilbur's book, In the Place of Justice, that was published in 2010. It's a remarkable book. But he spent some of his time going back and visiting people in prison who are in despair, who are having the toughest of times, who face the most difficult of decisions. And so I called Wilbur and I said, you know, Wilbur, I think that it would be good for you to come and talk to Ken. He needs to see that somebody can survive what he's going through. And Kenny has a gift. He does. Kenny has a gift. Beatrice knows this. When he was a little boy, he would draw. And that was one of the things that gave him pleasure when he was growing up. And Wilbur came and visited Kenny on an afternoon, went back the next morning. And I can tell you, Kenny's not been the same since. It inspired him. And Wilbur just told him, use what God gave you. We need to see it. The result of that 2-day meeting is now on the walls. And the vision now that Kenny has is that all he's trying to do with his art, all Isabel trying to do with their art is ask a question, make people think. What is the capital punishment? What is solitary confinement? And should we have that in a democratic free society? And so I'm going to quit now, but it's my great pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker, Wilbur.
not comfortable with all that credit because it's bottom line is Kenny. And but I'm happy to be here for Kenny for his incredible work and his dream of one day establishing a national death penalty museum in Washington, D.C. And I'm just remembering there is no mic. You guys in the back can hear me well?
Yes.
Not real well.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't be soft-spoken. But, you know, some people may think Kenny's work is incredible because he's a self-taught artist who worked from death row. And I would agree. Because a cell, like George pointed out, on death row is no artist studio. Materials can be hard to come by. Your choice is limited. And rather than the peace and quiet of an artist's den, you function in a madhouse. Although you're living in solitary confinement, there's noise and chaos all around you. I spent not 10, 12 years on death row in a 6-by-8 foot cell. And it was 12 years of whistles, bells, hollered arguments, arguing over football games, the constant sound of toilets flushing, and the drift of voters that goes with that. It was 12 years of grayness. No sunlight, no darkness, just the disorienting twilight of institutional lighting. It was 12 years of push-ups and sit-ups on the patch of floor next to my bunk. And in an effort to fight off the physically debilitating effects of life in a cramped cell. But that wasn't the biggest fight I had on death row. The biggest fight I had was to keep my sanity. Because on death row, you lose the context for your being. You're just there, and that's all. You're waiting to die. And your life has no meaning and no purpose, and you have to justify to yourself living from one day to the next, alone, in a vacuum. Your only connection to society is the object of their hate. It's hard to explain how it feels to know that the whole world wants you exterminated like a cockroach. I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Just about everyone on death row considers suicide at some point because it's hard to find a reason to go on living. Some do commit suicide. Others commit judicial suicide by giving up their appeals and letting the state execute them. Some of the men I was on death row with actually went mad, while others gradually evolved into an empty hull of what once contained a man. So while I admire Kenny Ream's artwork, what I admire most is the incredible effort he put into not only surviving the black hole we call death row, but transcending it. When I met Kenny, it was like peeping back in time and seeing myself. Intelligent, wanting to do something to make himself and his life matter. Wanting to weave meaning into an otherwise meaningless existence. Whatever forces or demons that caused him to be on death row, he had long ago mastered or defeated them. He had taken charge of his life, refusing to be just a piece of driftwood carried on the strange current of his life. Of course, I like it. I don't know the exact trajectory of Kenny's life and how he came to discover that, he could make his time on death row a period of education, personal growth, self-discovery, and maturation. Like Kenny, I was sent to death row to die. But ironically, it turned out to be the place where I learned to live. To be more than the crime that sent me there. To learn skills that would lay the foundation for who I would be and what I would do for the rest of my life. I suspect that Kenny was able to begin his transformation because someone gave him a helping hand of some kind. Somebody contributed something to him. As for me, someone loaned me a book. That's simple. Fair Oaks, with the name of it, by Frank Yeager. It was a slavery book in the South. It immediately sparked a thirst in me for more knowledge. An 8th grade school dropout, I'd never been a reader. But suddenly, I couldn't get enough to read. Reading connected me back to the world in a more positive way than I'd ever been connected before. It allowed me ultimately to feel empathy, to emerge from my cocoon of self-centeredness and to appreciate the enormity of what I'd done, the depth of the damage I'd caused others. As I read, I found hope in the stories of men who had overcome obstacles, sometimes of their own making, and gone on to accomplish great things or make real contributions to their world. Like the nameless English convicts who were exiled to Australia and went on and built a nation. They inspired me to think that maybe I could do something to redeem myself and contribute something to the world. Eventually, I took up writing. And once I came to people's attention in a positive way, I received help from many sources. People who fought to get me out of prison, like Kenny's lawyer, the man who performed miracles. And others brought friendship and love into my life. Kenny is blessed to have found both a purpose and a dream in his life, and to have found love. He knows his path is hard, his journey long, but I have no doubt that he will succeed at whatever he puts his mind to. But I want to leave you with another thought. And I told Kenny this when I visited him today. And he understands. I want to give you a call to action. Because there are many other men like Kenny, like me, trying to transcend their death row cells, to be better than what they were in the past. Most are alone, not only in their cell, but also in life, except for their lawyers. They desperately need help. People to take an interest in them, people to let them know that they are not alone and that they matter. People to support their struggle to transcend that cell. Now, there's organized opposition to the death penalty and to solitary confinement in this nation. And many people working to abolish both of those evils. And that's good. That's great. But there's little interest in the individual on death row. He needs help, not just to save his life, but to keep his sanity and to find a way back into the fold of humanity. For many years now, advocates in Europe have organized pen pal programs to connect the men on death row in America. But there's no corresponding effort here that I'm aware of. And I can tell you, when you're sitting on death row with the wrath of an entire nation focused on you, a helping hand is hard to find. I urge you, be that hand. Become a pen pal and lifeline for someone on death row. And never forget, Kenny needs all the help he can get. He is a very strong individual, but he still, even the strongest, need help. Because for what his biggest dream, it takes a village. That's getting out. Thank you.
whose shoulders I stand. 10 years ago, or maybe it's 11 years ago now, Kenneth wrote a letter to the president of the Arkansas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty. And he said something like, you people are all the time talking about doing away with the death penalty, but we never see any of you down here. And David Rickard was the president of the Arkansas Coalition at that time. And David took up the challenge. And for 10 or more years, he regularly visited Kenneth, and they became very close friends. Wilbert came to visit Kenneth, and Kenneth has told me this. He conceived this project after he talked with you. And it was Dave who set him on the path. Unfortunately, a year after they began their efforts, Dave died very suddenly and unexpectedly. David recruited me to write to Kenneth because Kenneth wanted to be in touch with victims' families. And I'm a murder victim family member, so I had written to him, but I had never met him. So when this comes about, it's like, well, somebody needs to step up. So I went to visit Kenneth, and I spoke with him for an hour, and actually we got to talk for 3 hours that day. They forgot us. I remember we had to holler for the guards. I was afraid I was going to be there forever. But anyway, as I was leaving, Kenneth said, would you be the director of my art show? Well, I was so impressed with Kenneth that I said yes. So here I am. And I want to recognize Dave's widow, Judy. Dave is most certainly, I have no doubt, here with us tonight. Okay, Marquise. You're
Go, Marcus.
Marquise is a community organizer for the Legal Defense Fund, and that's how we get to have him in Arkansas, because the Legal Defense Fund is working on Kenneth's case. So,
I want to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to come and speak in front of you all today. I get to speak right after Wilbert, which is no easy task, but I will try my best. I was asked to come today and speak about the love between Kenneth and Isabel. The truth is, I probably have a better chance speaking about how the world was created. So I won't attempt to try to describe the love that they have, but I will tell you the inspiration that it's had on me. 4 years ago, LDF sent me down here to do organizing, like put me on a boat and throw me in the middle of the ocean with a bunch of sharks. Little bit of context, I had to go out and find my way. But I met so much amazing people, like David Rickard. From day one, I came down here, and David Rickard introduced me to some of the most amazing people in this community. Some of the people who are here today, some of the people I cherish and hold near and dear to my heart. Because it truly is about love. Now we can sit here and we can go to the Capitol and we can change laws every day. In fact, we were able to stop the death penalty at one point. But it came back. I believe that it is love. It is love that is truly going to allow us to be able to abolish the death penalty. And the love that Isabel and Kenneth have for each other is unimaginable. The two of them were both had a timeline set on their life. Told that their lives were in jeopardy, at risk of ending. Both of them. And both of them decided that they were going to live in spite. And they were going to live through that love for each other. And for 9 years, 9 years, the two of them have been hand in hand and showing us greatness like we have never seen before. So while their artwork is amazing, their love speaks volumes to where we need to be. You see, I believe we have focused on hating the individual that committed such a heinous crime instead of focusing on the actual act. It's hard to be up here and talk to you all today because I'm just so touched by the way they have touched me. The advocacy that is taking place through this artwork and through their love should be transcended and should be upheld through all of us here in this room. That's right. From those who have committed crimes to those who have put those in prison who have committed crimes. It is time that we take a step back and re-examine the death penalty. And so this art show is taking us to a place where we need to be, quite frankly. A place that shows us that people can change. And just to take a page from Brian Stevenson's book, we are better than the worst act we have ever committed. I had the pleasure of driving Wilbur down to the prison to see Kenneth Reeves. And
I still have nightmares about it.
and I watched, I didn't get to be in the room. They had that personal time, but I can tell you that I watched Kenneth's evolution. I've seen Kenneth become more free than anyone I've ever met. He is free and I am inspired by that freeness. You know why? Because you can engage me now. And you know what? Doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean anything because he has shown me I can continue to live. I can continue to live so long as there is another person out there who loves me. Who's willing to hold my hand. Who's willing to say, I may not know you, but I'll welcome you in my house. And we can get that good game of space going, can't we? So, from Kenneth to Isabel, to Beatrice, to Amelia, to my family at LDF, To my family here in Arkansas, I say to you, the best way to move forward is to look at the example that was created between Kenneth and Isabel. That love, that ultimate love, that unforgettable love, that unconditional love is the way we end the death penalty in this country. To bring the love to this community that is needed.
I just met Amelia on the elevator, and she said that she needed to get some air, so I will keep her bouquet. I have a little token of appreciation for the two women who raised Kenneth, Beatrice and Amelia. Isabel? Congratulations.
First of all, it feels good. How did you do with the Emmy Award? I would like to thank my mother and my father. That's how you do it? Because when I'm in a panic, I like to joke around. I like to make fun and things. But I think I'm not going, this time it's not going to work, I think. Because with my little accent, I might sound stupid. I might sound like, not too many sense in there. But I do have two grown children, 22 and 24, that I love so much. My grandchild, oh my God. I miss Nana. So, he's 1 year old. So love I got around me. But I need to say something because that's the way I am. I don't know how to, you see I didn't write anything else. I want to talk because Kenny should be here. It should be with me. This is not my show. This is Kenny's show and my show. When I'm making it, I think, sometimes I think that my daddy sent him to me because he tried to save me at one point. I may try to be positive. I come out like that just like I want to tell you, my name is Isabel. And when I met Kenneth, I saw a documentary on TV in French, a French documentary that talked about a young guy that was 19 years old. And at first I was just drawing and I was thinking, I mean, I was never about the thing about the pen pal prisoner and stuff. And, you know, I had done a lot of work in my life trying to help the victim of 9/11, the mental health children, everything else that had to do with always the victim, helping out others. But I had an issue with trusting men, so a man in prison is not going to be, you know, never mind. But anyway. But when I saw his story on TV, I was drawing it and I was listening to this, and for some reason, I felt this strength in him. But then I wanted to know, I don't know why. The second time I saw the documentary, that was a documentary that had been done when he was 19. So that's 20 years later. And I wanted to know what happened. Is he still alive? Did he make it? Because I felt something in this young child, this young boy that was 19. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that my boys could have been my children. So I wrote him and I said, he's not going to ever write me back. Or he's just going to tell me, look, we can't be boyfriend and girlfriend. And I've been like, no, 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 too complicated. Too complicated. You're overseas, I'm here. I mean, I'm overseas, you're... But anyway, to resume the story, I fell in love with this man. Because of his strength, because he accepted me for who I was. I told him one day, I said, you're going through a whole lot. You don't need to add up a woman across sea and on top of it who has HIV. And I didn't think about it. And he's still here, so.
Amen.
Still here. And I can tell you, you don't know nothing much about, you probably don't know nothing much about a relationship with a woman or a man in prison, but it's about the same one on the outside. You get mad at your man, but you know, it happened, it's normal. I can't get away from him because he gave me, y'all need to know that I'm drawn because of him today. I had gave up on drawing. So this show is not because of me and Kennedy, it's because of Kennedy. Because if he didn't push me drawing, we wouldn't be here. So it's because of Kennedy, not because of me. And I don't want to be the star of tonight, you know. It's not me. Just can't do it.
You have to be the star for both of you.
But I have to say this. I'm fighting with a lot of people in France about my situation. A lot of people tell me, what are you doing with this man? There's nothing he can do for you. He's inside, you're outside. And every time I try to tell him, but you just don't understand the power, the strength that he gave in my life that you can't give me. Every time I have to fight with this and tell them, I even fight for my children. You know, because it's not a normal relationship. But you just don't know. This man can, I believe he can bring, he could do better outside than he is inside. He's already doing so good inside and he could do so bad, so much better on the outside.
Amen.
And I hope that whoever can do this, I hope that